Can you tell us all about the Toxteth riots?
Well, we all know how they started.
How did they start? Because we've got a lot of American viewers who are not familiar.
They started with a then youth, called Leroy Cooper, who was riding a motorcycle, and the police thought that it was stolen and forced him to a halt and tried to arrest him. A couple of young boys were standing on the corner, didn't like it, threw a few bricks, got him away. That was the start of the riot, because then the police piled in force and started just beating and nicking people.
Was that day one?
That was day one, yeah. So, of course, the word went out and everybody just congregated. Bricks, bottles, pavement, anything.
How long did it last?
Sporadic, about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
What was Toxteth's life in the aftermath of the riots?
It was the best feeling I'd ever had in L8, because there was so much unity and people were very, very political. And people who hadn't spoken for years came together. And I don't know if it was the fighting together that did it, but the unity was something to be seen.
But in your days, I mean, I would imagine with it, everyone knows one another. I mean, like, yeah, people like, oh, you could leave your front door open and you wouldn't get robbed or anything. Was it very much like that?
Very much like that in Liverpool 8.
Yeah.
Very, very close-knit community, black and white.
Big houses and,
yeah. And a lot of
big
them,
families.
Yeah, a lot of them were let off, were rented.
Yeah.
You get 3 or 4 families in one house on like Canning Street and Faulkner Street.
Yeah. I know Faulkner Street, I mean, you'd have different sort of generations of people living in the same house, you know what I mean? You'd have like granddad living at the first floor, and then you'd have such and such and such and such. Yeah. We used to go a lot of the some of the student parties around there, the big huge houses, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. And our first rave was some scrapyard in Toxteth.
Beaumont Street.
Yeah. That was in the late 80s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then we started going to State and Quadrant Park.
Coconut Grove, though, it's like me and him, we just walk in. We were literally supposed to be the only white people in there.
I remember. And you go off and do a little deal. You go off and do a little deal. I was stood on the stairs.
I loved the whole feeling of it. A few old guys playing dominoes and someone just like playing on his banjo and stuff, and I'd go and get a rum and coke and a pint. And it's just like, we were made to feel welcome, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, there were so many clubs in Liverpool 8. I mean, there was around 20 clubs in just within like a mile of each other.
Wow.
It was great.
Did government policy change as a result of the Toxteth riots?
Well, Thatcher, it's already been said that she wanted to bring Liverpool to its knees. And she pretty much did. She pretty much did. I mean,
that was before the riots or after?
That's after the riots.
She just like made it worse.
Yeah.
What policies did she enact?
Well, for a start, that the money that was taken to Albert Dock was supposed to be for L8, for improving housing and things like that. It went into the Albert Dock for tourism. Because I had meetings with Heseltine, and because I was one of the Liverpool 8 Defence Committee. We were an organisation that built itself to fight for the kids who were getting arrested for no reason at all. I mean, in one case, they actually had a guy on trial for having a can of petrol in his boot. And we got black barristers and black solicitors from London, and they tested this petrol, and it was water. Because what the police had done, they just tested the headspace. And I've got the vapour from when there was petrol in it.
Got you. But a lot of people nowadays will carry an extra can in case you run out of petrol.
It's not good to carry one during riots.
Oh, right, of course, yeah.
Did you ever run for political office?
No.
But you were a leadership figure in the negotiations then after the riots?
Yeah.
How come you ended up in that role?
I ended up because when the riots happened, I was driving along Parliament Street and was stopped by a riot squad. And they called me all the black bastards going and all the rest, and trying to provoke me into doing something. And I said, that's it. The next day I went down to the Charles Wotton Centre where they were having all the meetings and got involved.
There was about black cops them days. Were they the same, or were they?
Well, a black policeman, to show that he's fair, he's going to be worse with me than a white policeman.
Wow. You wouldn't expect that. You'd think a bit of immunity, you know what I mean?
You would.
So going back to the 80s then, I just remember Liverpool, like, there was a lot of inner city, like, desolation.
Yeah.
A lot of people coming up to me asking me, have I got any spare money to spend? They need bus money. Obviously, there's a lot of people addicted to heroin and things around the city centre. How did it, because I left in 91, came back in 2007. How did it transform into how it is now? And has Toxteth transformed as well? Because I've not been back there.
Oh, Toxteth.
It's only a shadow itself, a shadow of what was. I mean, there's so many strangers there now. It was before we knew everybody, knew every family. The unity is not the same, and people keep coming to me and saying, you know, we need somebody to do this. Well, I said, look, you're there, organise, and that's it. I've been on the Black Lives Matter movement march about 3 months ago. That was my last march.
That was in Liverpool, was it?
Yeah, from the Riots.
How many people came out for that?
There was a good few thousand came out for that. A lot of good white support, which is what you need.
It's all over the world, isn't it now?
Yeah.
I mean, the things that these videos are showing have been going on forever, but the fact that people are filming it now and putting it on social media, the cops killing the black people.
It's different.
What did you think about that main one that sparked all this? Where he got choked?
It was horrible to see.
Yeah.
Horrible to see. I mean, I've always been frightened of that kind of thing, because I remember once during the riots, I was arrested. I was standing on the corner. I was standing with Father Peter, actually, from St. Bernard's. And the police Land Rover came. They jumped out, circled us, dragged me in the van. And I was worried because I thought, well, it's too blatant. Everybody's seen I wasn't doing anything. They took me to Cheapside, and the inspector said that he'd saw me throw a pavement slab at a police van when it was going past. And anyway, the people went and they got Rex Macon. And he came down to the police station, and he had me out within an hour without any charge.
Did you have Rex?
I used Rex, 6 Rexy a lot of times. With his half here, yeah. Once my crime started going from normal Widnes County to Crown, I went straight to Rex Macon. And a good friend of mine, Roy Smart, was a good friend of his. He managed to get me legal aid with Rex Macon, and he got me off a lot of charges. Not only just got me off a lot of charges, he also got me a lot of conversations over different conversations. Do you know this lad? I've told you this. He seems to ask me, I think he's got amnesia or something. I've already told you this lad.
See how he treats me, viewers?
I just don't like repeating myself. I'm not a parrot. I don't like repeating myself. I'm not a parrot.
What is the solution to this? Is it never going to end? It just seems that people as human nature, race, religion, politics, the Gambinos versus the Bananos, people just form groups and savage each other. How can it ever be solved?
Nature's way, isn't it?
Well, it's sad because we didn't have that in our day. We didn't have competition firms who'd think of robbing you and things like that. There was nothing like that then.
Yeah. But what about racism then? How can that be solved? Or can it?
I wish I knew the answer.
Yeah.
It seems like it's going to be there forever. But I mean, the good thing is my son is, my youngest is 18. He's going to uni next week. And he hasn't suffered racism. And I'm happy that he's got to 18 without suffering racism.
And that's because, in a lot of countries now, people being taught at schools and stuff like that. You know what's correct and what's not correct. Yeah.